No? Zoom has to be on?
No, but we offered our YouTube does. Go ahead. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Play ball, Ralph.
We do our deputy.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Roll call.
Robert Carnahan is absent.
Not roll tide.
John Foreman.
Present.
Julie Rivera. Here. Ralph Miller.
Present.
Randy Niemeyer.
Present.
Colleen Sheehan. Here. Rick Sharp is absent. I am present. Rick Everly.
Present.
David Austin.
Present.
Okay, we'll start off with new business, the approval of the minutes from October the 19th. And we have a motion. Motion to approve.
Go ahead, I yield to whoever that was, Colleen.
Roll call.
John Foreman.
Yes.
Julie Rivera. Yes. Randy Niemeyer.
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan. Yes. Ralph Miller.
Yes. Lakeview Business Park Water Recapture Agreement.
Mr. President, this is the document that Mr. Austin discussed with us a little bit earlier. Nearly ready, but would like, I believe, Dave, you'd like this to be deferred to the next meeting?
Yes, please. We have specimen documentation that we're working through, giving you the most current draft, so.
And it should be in voting form by the next meeting.
Without guarantee, that's the objective.
Thank you.
So do we need a vote to defer?
Motion to defer.
Second motion.
Roll call.
John Foreman.
Yes.
Julie Rivera. Yes. Randy Niemeyer.
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan.
Yes.
Ralph Miller.
Yes. The Lakedale remote meter and plume meter.
Tim, that's
Yeah, these are actual meters, so we could remotely read the Lakedale flow meter and also the meters at the flume, which we currently have to go about 5 times a month to physically read those meters and get the information for the utility people. So it's just another way of upgrading our system and making it easier for everybody to do their thing, so they'll be able to get all those numbers anytime they need them and actually have the daily and all the monitoring of those meters on a daily basis and whenever they're needed.
Mr. President, Tim, will that mean that there'll be less physical observation of the facilities down there?
No, I mean, they still, Lowell's out at the flume every day, and I mean, we would still be there, but we just don't have to make special trips for meter end of the month. For some reason, they go on the end of the month and the beginning of the month, which I still can't figure out what that's all about, but, and then on every Friday, I believe.
That's on the list of discussion things I have for Sue, because that is something that's been ongoing, and I honestly can't tell you the answer.
Right, it's a quite outrageous number of trips that we make just to do that, so, again, it monitors, it's a full, like we have on our lift station, so if there is issues, it's another way of making sure that there's not, but by no means will it eliminate me having to go out there at all. I mean, but
Thank you, Mr. President.
just moving into today's.
Should be, Xylem's a pretty popular name for remote monitoring, so I think
Well, all of our
it's a step in the right direction for sure.
Yeah, the new lift stations and, I mean, we're kind of phasing towards that. It's just like, you know, the cutting edge new stuff it is what it is, but, they're all those monitoring and all the companies that started with the SCADA things and then went on to the.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy, but this is what we've been going with as of recent, so we're kind of trying to keep the uniformity going.
Now we need a motion to be able to do that.
Of course, Ralph.
And I think the total amount was, what, $9,000?
$9,878.56.
And it's coming out of which fund, Jen? This just comes out of
Wastewater.
wastewater. I make a motion to approve the Lakedale remote monitor and fuel meters. Very productive way to monitor.
Second.
Roll call.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Julie Rivera. Yes. Randy Neemeyer.
Yes.
Colleen Scheven. Yes. Ralph Miller.
Yes. The sprinkler well abandonment, Monastery Woods.
This is for the old 12-inch well that serviced the Monastery Golf Course. It's been on the list for us to get this taken care of for the last 5 or 6 years, and we just never have made it happen.
Right off 129?
You know the well house directly to the north of the clubhouse, the
Yeah.
little block building, there's a 12-inch well, a big giant pump. It needs to be abandoned properly to, just get it sealed so it protects our town water system, and it's not in our immediate wellhead protection
Is
area.
that aquifer different than the one that we have?
I'm certain, I
So you don't wanna keep it?
It needs to
Tie it
be,
in?
technically by the rules of IDEM, after 1 year of not use, it's supposed to be
Oh,
closed up and sealed in, so it's been not used for
long time.
longer than that. We got 2 bids from, one from Sheehy and one from Ortman Well, and they were within $300 of each other, $9,000 and $9,300, I believe, so I don't know who would be able to get it done quicker, or
Where's Ortman out of?
Ortman is out of, southern Indiana. They're the ones who they're doing the actual cleaning of the wells at Havenwood right now, and they're doing the drives at, the White House Water.
Oh, is that what Ortman's doing?
Ortman is-
Or that truck's doing over there in Havenwood?
And Havenwood, they're air blasting, cleaning the wells, yes, and doing the pump test to see the actual volume, updated volume of the water capacity of those 2 wells.
So who had the lower of the price?
Sheehy was actually $360 lower.
I'd like to keep it with the close to home, if at all possible. So if you're good with Sheehy's,
I'm good with Sheehy, it
Workmanship.
did come up today that the Ortman people are here, and they're going to be doing the pump test for the next 3 days at Havenwood, and they said that if they were able to, they asked today, and coincidentally, if they could do that abandonment, because they're gonna be kinda idle, sitting here watching water pump, so they could probably give us a better price, but I don't know what that would be, and that was just kind of a spur of the, I don't know.
But here we are in a public meeting.
yeah.
Right.
I'd like to make a motion
Yeah,
to stick
so,
with Sheehy.
like I said, it was just one of
Lowest
those things.
bidder.
Yeah, so Sheehy was a little bit lower in the bid, so.
Yeah. And that way, if something happens in the future, they're in our back.
And I believe that the distance from the travel is probably the difference of the $400 or $380.
I'll second John's motion.
Good deal. Thank you.
Roll call.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Julie Rivera. Yes. Randy Neemeyer.
Yes.
Colleen Scheven. Yes. Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Tim, while we're talking water, I did see that there was a well drilled on Hanover's property, I think for watering the fields is my guess.
Yep.
Did we know about that in the town, or is that allowed, since we have public water, or?
It's irrigation, it's just for irrigation, so.
Okay, I didn't know, I don't ever recall hearing that when we approved everything a year ago, or 6 or 7 months ago, and I just didn't realize that you could still do that. I saw the truck there a few months ago, I never asked about it, so, okay.
Yeah, it's still, you can still drill a well, there's no rule against it, and it's just, that well is strictly for watering the back sports field, so. Basically, if that well that we had back there by the monastery was over there, they'd be in good shape. But they drilled one and we're capping one off, just.
I just didn't know if there was a ruling against what aquifer they pulling from, could it affect our volume, et cetera?
I think normally those the irrigation wells are shallower wells, and they get that water from up, it doesn't have to be, it's just
Quality
water,
water.
it's just watering water,
So
so
the quality's not important.
right, it's just quantity.
I didn't know how that
Just
worked,
water.
I was curious.
Not potable.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to the truck camera power equipment enhancement for inspection of underground lines.
And the truck camera equipment is a new, when we got the camera truck, we didn't get this portion of it just because it added another $40,000 to the cost, but this is the actual boom and the winch that lowers the camera down into the manholes and raises it up so they don't have to try holding it with a rope and lowering it down into those deep manholes. It's just an automatic, basically it lowers the camera and raises the camera with a winch versus manually. And doing the interceptor lines and stuff, we've had a lot of trouble with trying to get the camera in and out of the hole with the high water flow and then getting it back and, you know, without having this power winch thing, so just something we need to keep on moving forward with camera, with inspecting the sewers.
That's expensive, man.
Very, thousands, I know, it's crazy. And we already have the camera and the truck and everything, and this is why we tried doing without it originally, just because it was another expensive.
Is it just running off a little AC motor?
No, it runs off of the generator in
Right, but it's just an AC motor that drives the winch down and up.
Yeah, and it had some digital, like if the cable and the winch go at the same time, so if for some reason the cable or the camera drives on the camera cable, it senses that and shuts it off, and it's got some kind of safety features of that nature to protect your equipment, but, yeah, it's just a high dollar vehicle. That's right here, the picture of it.
Because we have
Should have.
that camera, do we need to have that? I have it, Todd.
All right,
I have it, Chief. I just,
Yeah.
so now we're tied into the
When we're
fact-
going into them high flow manholes, their two guys are trying to hold a rope with
Yeah.
gloves on and trying to lower that camera into that water with, you know, going down the line, so it's just one of those things, it's just another, as you get into the bigger, doing them bigger lines, you have to have that better equipment to get it done, so. Plus some guys bending over the whole, you know,
No, that-
backing up on the
that would
cable,
stink.
and it's
There's
a
no
tough.
question.
And then you get them bigger tires on that thing, and that camera gets to be.
I have a stupid question, Tim. Do other towns all own this, or do any of the other
A
towns
lot of people pay outside contractors to camera.
I see.
And then some towns have, you know, it's kind of a, I don't know what everybody has, but I know we were paying people to do it and getting pretty poor results every time.
Right.
Ever since we started with the bloodhound.
Look at all the problems we had with that bloodhound.
No, I'm all about vertical integration and us
We've
doing it.
had-
I'm just wondering, we need it how many days a month? Does it make sense to co-op with Crown Point or somebody, and we need?
I'll tell you what,
we both need it
the
to-
camera thing is, the camera thing will sit in the shop for a week at the most, but, most days it's out,
Okay.
locating sewer taps, doing, you know, it's.
So it's a tool needed.
Yeah, it's definitely a used piece of equipment, just like the vac truck, not every single day, but quite often.
Okay, I got you.
And with what we need, I mean, Neil and those guys are giving us stuff every day that they need cameraed and videoed, and I mean, so there's an ongoing list on the wall of stuff to get done, so.
So it's not like you're buying it, using it 3 times a month?
Correct.
Okay.
Question I have, and this is kind of for the council, for Jen, is we get a lot of these sorts of requests throughout the year from our Director of Operations. I think we need to get together, like, at the end of the year, some sort of list of what did we purchase this year? Right, we need to kind of track it, because what we discussed in our budget meetings with Corby was coming up with like a yearly allotment for these sorts of things, because it just keeps coming up. And we still need to have some sort of management tool to make sure that we're not outpacing our collections and things, because there's a lot of upgrades that bring us that are needed. And I think it would be good for the utility board to have kind of a running list of those expenditures, and then measure that against what we've talked about as kind of a yearly number, to see where we're at on the roadmap.
I can pull you all of the capital expenditures to date for the.
I think it would be helpful for everybody just to know what we're investing in, and that way we're just not approving things because we have endless sewer funds. We've got some pretty big sewer projects that are going on too, so I think we want to be mindful and make sure that the things that Tim needs are supported and strategic. So that's the comment. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, and going back to what Tim was saying too, when we were hiring out, it was a nightmare. I mean, the product that we were getting back, you could hardly see. You know, us having our own equipment, I believe, is the way to go.
There's no dispute that we're doing good things.
Yeah.
But we ask the same sort of accountability from our fire chief and our police chief as it relates to equipment and capital expenditures. So it's only right that we have the same grip on that from a utility standpoint.
Definitely, you know, like I was saying, the product we were paying for
Yeah,
was not a
I mean,
good
this was
product.
something they wanted on that truck originally when we bought it, but it was another, you know what I mean, that was something that we could upgrade later, that we
Yeah.
tried. We tried, and there's been some there's been some issues with it getting tangled up and getting it in and out of the, and the rest of that equipment is super expensive, and you're lowering it down with ropes and gloves, and I mean, it is, I get what you're saying though, too, I mean, I understand 100%.
Yeah, it's not about like micromanaging you, but
No, I know, I get it, I mean, I
it's
understand.
just about, you know, we're gonna have a lot of irons in the fire, and I
Right,
think we all
yeah.
have to have an understanding of.
Right, and they have a game plan, like I said, this
Yeah.
was something that we debated doing with the truck, but that truck was already $145,000, so. it's like,
Your requests have always been legit, Tim.
we'll try to, you know.
Mr. President, is there, and for Jennifer really, isn't there a capital equipment list or schedule that we maintain generally as a matter of course? And that it would be something we could simply add columns of information to, such as age, such as date of purchase, such as mileage, if it were a vehicle.
But to go a step further, Dave, something I was focused on when we created this utility board was getting to the point where we're managing a utility budget. And this leads into that, is making sure Tim has a budget he can work with and that fulfills the needs of the utilities, and that the utility board is helping to manage that and monitor that budget.
Yeah, absolutely, this is a foundational step, that's why I asked, I thought there was some type of schedule already.
We do have a schedule that we use when it comes to the insurance that we keep, but I would say it's not quite as detailed as what I think Randy's going for. I can take a report from the system for expenditures year-to-date for...
You assume that I care about detail?
for
How dare you.
specific utility funds, and I can throw that, I can pull it from the system directly into an Excel spreadsheet. That way you can easily see, okay, from fund 633, 634, 643, 654, I think I've got my fund numbers right. That way you can see year-to-date what those capital expenditures have been. Because if I pull you the report for the, I mean, you really don't want the operating fund, because that's gonna be pages upon pages and pages of everything that you get when I send you the docket reports. I think what you're going for is those big expenses, and I can...
This capital stuff,
Yeah.
I mean, we're upgrading our utility. It's good to have kind of a running count. Like we've replaced lift stations. How much was this lift station? When was it replaced? What sort of equipment was in it? Just general information that I think helps to educate this citizen body here. So it's a good thing for us in our conversations with our citizens too, and God forbid there's ever pressure on rates. We all better have a handle on what we're doing, because those questions will have to be answered.
I mean, that's great.
Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Do we have a motion for,
So moved. $39,160.81.
second?
I'll second.
Roll call?
John Foreman,
Yes.
Julia Rivera,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan,
Yes.
Randy England.
Yes.
That
Thank you.
was from...
It's okay.
To,
We all got the
reports
vote.
with the clerk treasurer?
I previously sent you all the current cash and expenditure reports. You know, the year's wrapping up really fast. I'm working on quite a few things, with Sue. Going back to what Randy was just saying about budgeting for the utilities. Sue is still on top of that, going through some stuff. I think she has a good plan, I agree with, for moving forward, for starting to really come together, make sure we have our expenses proper, and work towards budgeting.
This organization and business of this town has become too big for us to not have that sort of stuff going on with budgeting.
We're working on it.
Very good.
That's all I have.
Our consultants with these,
Good evening. We have the West Side Sanitary Sewer Interceptor update. Project 1, I talked with Rick today. We have dates. We're going to advertise November 23rd to the papers, and those will be in November 30th and December 7th for Project 1. We have a pre-bid scheduled December 17th, and we will open on January 14th in anticipation of the January 18th Utility Board meeting with a recommendation to award and stay on track to begin construction immediately after that, once the contracts are signed and the bonds and the insurance are in place for the contractor. Project 2, we are proceeding on design. We are on schedule. East Side Sanitary Sewer rehabilitation. The bonds and insurance have been submitted by the contractors. Those have been delivered to Jen, and she will coordinate with Rick Sharp to get those contracts signed, and the contractors will begin immediately after that. The SSES, as you had mentioned earlier as part of your prior work, some of the Lowerman Interceptor investigation that Tim had mentioned is requisite on getting the equipment for the town to do that work. And as Ralph had mentioned, of what we saw not only previously with the Lowerman Interceptor that was a partially done by an outside contractor, but what we saw with the JMOB in the Lowell Interceptor downstream from your EQ facility was less than ideal. So having it done in-house and what we've got to date from your staff has been fantastic, and what they will continue to do with this new equipment we expect would be very much the same. For the Utopia subdivision, we had given an update last month. That is the same. We are prepared to go out to bid with those east side projects and the projects that are related to the PER. The risk and resilience, there was a meeting today held, and we are on track to submit by year's end for the requirements of the EPA for the risk and resilience program. Howard Jones in our office handled that with Ryan Kuiper and your staff. They're providing updates and upgrades to their O&M to meet those requirements of the EPA. The Lighthouse water main, we have plans completed. We will be submitting those to staff to review by the week's end, and then proceeding from there to coordinating bidding, advertisement and bidding through David's office for consistency with state statutes for those projects to extend from the Paradise Cove facility down Morse, across 140th Edison to 141st, extending out to the corporate limits to coordinate with other development projects that would be consistent to extend up through the lakeside development to 133rd.
I always have questions for Neil. The SSES update, Lowerman Interceptor. So once we start digging into this thing, I think we all know we're going to find probably some pretty bad structural issues. Do we have a game plan, or at least a preliminary game plan, on what we're going to do when we find what we find?
We do. We would anticipate those areas of that interceptor generally extending from Parish Avenue south of 137th down Lowerman to the lift station that services that west side. Those areas that are outside of paved areas and developed areas, we would recommend a typical standard trench method excavation for repairs, because it's the best bang for your buck. Those areas that are in pavement, more than likely, depending on the size of the issue, would either be a pressure grouting or a relining of those mains. And
so when you talk about repair for the ones that are not in paved areas, what do you mean? Is that a relining?
You would dig those up traditionally.
I know, but once you dig them up, what do you do?
Or you can bore it Can't you, in some cases, or no?
Yeah,
Depending on the fix?
there's many options, but more than likely in those areas that are not in developed or paved areas, you could dig the main up, plug, bypass, and repair those lines with, they're called, Fernco couplers, but it's basically rubber line to rubber line. They're sealed, and then you replace the pipe that's, the offending article. You can
Now,
look at grouting.
Where's the threshold on repair or replacement? How much, where does it get to the point where it's not worth the repair?
There are many locations, and going back to the year I was born, 1973, the EPA put out a document that is, to this day, the gold standard of where you look for the point of diminishing returns of rehabilitation and repair versus don't go after the nickel's worth of value to spend $100 on that rehabilitation remedial measure. And what we look at is, can you find a value in this line that you can go back to your ratepayers and customers, obviously, the citizens of the town, to be able to say we're providing a value in this rehabilitation to the system. Because if you chase after every last quarter of a gallon per day of inflow and infiltration, you're providing absolutely no value to the ratepayers and the system in general. But looking at those major inflow and infiltration areas that you can provide a value to is highly recommended.
But that's been a problem child for a long time. And I guess what I'm getting at here is that with all the projects we've got going and the debt that we're issuing from the wastewater standpoint, would there be a place where you would say, you know what, we need to add this project to what we're doing and replace sections or the whole damn thing?
Yeah, actually, and Bob not being here, years ago, there was a recommendation for replacement and rehabilitation of minor portions of that, what we call the Lowerman Interceptor, the west side.
How deep is it there?
It depends.
10
You know,
feet?
in some places it is 10 feet, in some places it's, 3.5 to 4 feet below grade to the top of the pipe. Obviously, the pipe generally follows a consistent grade, but the topography changes significantly. I think the deepest areas are in that 12 to 15 feet range, but those that are in pavement, those generally don't have the best return on value by digging those up. However, when you're working in an area that's scheduled for a reconstruction project, there does become a value to that because you're going to have the road open up anyway.
Another question on the lighthouse well water main update. I appreciate the answers. So we're going to be putting together the bid package to start moving,
Yes.
right? Right now, that's pipe moving nowhere. When,
Correct.
right, so when do we get to the end game of the whole thing and see a tower start coming out of the ground?
Yeah, Rick and I have been in coordination with the developer in that area, and they are moving in a position, and correct me if I'm wrong, Rick, following when we have our plans in place, out to bid, approval from the Indiana Finance Authority to move forward in 2022 with their water main extension to connect to the south end of Lakeside 1. So that by the end of 22, you'll have, upgraded pumps at Paradise Cove. You'll have the extension of the east side transmission main. You'll have the connection through the developments, and then Utopia as well.
So when will the tower be up?
That will be bid end of December into January, and they'll begin construction in March. The tower, I would imagine,
Why does it feel like we're a year behind? Because I seem to remember when we first started this, it was actually supposed to start construction this coming spring. And that's why we did the rate case when we did it. It was all about the timing. And why we rushed, and I wouldn't say rushed, but why we were aggressive going through the process of acquiring the lighthouse well. And so it just seems like we fell a year behind somewhere. What happened?
Yeah, the tower is supplemental to the system But the absolute most important part is a production facility that you have acquired.
To all of us, we understand that, but to a ratepayer who's going to see their rates double, they want to have a tower and know that the fire department can hook onto a hydrant and have hydraulic pressure and all those sorts of things.
Yeah, and hydraulic pressure is not only through pumping, but through static pressure of the tower as well.
Right, so it seems to me like we went through this rate process and told our ratepayers one story, and now that whole thing has changed drastically.
That I can't necessarily comment on, but what I can say is we're on schedule with what we submitted to the Indiana Finance Authority through the PER that we've submitted that's waiting to be approved, and going forward with the production facility and transmission main to build a tower without
Could they run
that
in parallel
additional.
though, Neil?
Pardon?
Could that tower be built in parallel to us doing the other?
It will be in 2022, yes.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, Randy. We're talking about the tower starting in March of
Yes.
2022, not 23, Randy. The tower's gonna be built next year.
That's not what it sounded like to me.
If that was
Sounded like the end of
incorrect,
next year.
Rick did correct me on that.
Yeah, no, the tower will be started in March of 2022
Right.
and completed
In parallel to us
Yeah,
getting that water
yeah.
line from the lighthouse.
Yeah, that's what Neil's been telling us for a while, yeah.
What he just told me,
Yeah, it does
sounded
make
like,
sense. You
Yeah.
confused
sounded
me.
like we were going December of
Yeah.
this next year.
Oh, no,
No,
for that I apologize.
no.
Yeah.
No, tower's going in.
I was gonna
Yeah.
have a little problem with that, but.
Randy's hair fell out, I can see his ears.
Mine did too, John.
Any more questions for Neil? Okay, if we can move on to the Director of Operations report.
You were tired of hearing from me, weren't you? After like, enough questions.
I just want to report that we've gotten some inspections being done daily now and eveningly. We're moving along. We've run up against a few people already that don't want to let us in their house, that they don't want us to come and make an inspection. They work 6 days a week. The only day we can come is Sunday when they're home and their wife's not home. So we talked previously about people that don't want to comply. We need to add a monthly charge to their sewer bill, or there needs to be some type of, we need to have something. I know Rick had a discussion with Dave about our policies and what we have in our current policies and our, what we have to actually make something that we could enforce and have a way to politely say that we need, I think that, I know I talked to Neil, we talked about it before, about like if there was a way that we could charge $75, $100 a month extra for putting water into the stormwater into the sanitary sewer, that we could just say, if we can't get in here get into your house to do it, then you're gonna be paying an extra $75, a double sewer bill until that time ends, or if there's some way to, we've gotten several already, and I don't know if we continue on with the people that wanna cooperate and wait until the end to have the rest, or it would be nice to kind of move through these ones as we come through them, so we don't have 1,000 people at the end that we are the ones that don't want to comply or agree to.
But don't a lot of people have sump pumps that exit right off the side of their house? Sure. You can see it, so you don't even have to go to their basement, right?
We still need to go into the basement and look and see what's going on. There could be one pipe going outside, there could be, that old pipe could be outside, the sump pump could be discharged into the sewer. We need to physically look,
Have you had
Okay.
some real pushback on the efforts?
No, not so much pushback. We had a couple of people that said, you're not coming into my house to look, or that a couple of people said that we offered morning, afternoon, evening, anytime, pretty much whatever they could, at their convenience, and a few people just say, no, we don't want you to come in.
Some people, how do we identify? Do we have Thomas Here Lake shirts on and everything? Because some people might think it's a scam.
Well, we're actually, Malia is actually contacting all of these people, telephone, and setting up appointments to do it. We're not just knocking on people's doors. we're going through, she's got, with Cliff's help, they compiled a list of subdivisions, addresses, and I mean, we got a whole deal going here now that's, you know, we're moving forward, but,
And Tim, we're doing this with our own employees so far, right?
correct,
Yes. Yeah, so they would be in, I would assume, in uniform whenever they're doing it.
Right, and when they're in they have a badge, and they're actually, I mean, as of right now, it's like, hey, we're gonna be there at 2:30 on Tuesday, and then at 3 o'clock on Tuesday, so they're expecting somebody to come to their house at 2:30 to look at their sump pump, so it's not like out of the blue. It seems like we got the right motion going, you know, we're still working out some, you know, obviously, we're gonna get it a little better streamlined, but I guess the main thing is the people that don't want to comply, I'd like to be able to say, like, hey, if you can't let us in to be your sump pump, we're gonna assume you're discharging stormwater into the sanitary sewer, and your bill will double next month until this is rectified. The people that we're finding that have sump pumps in the sewer, we're given 30 days to get that taken care of, and then go back and check.
Yeah.
So we just need you know, something from David that is enforceable, that we can do, that's easy, that doesn't turn into
Not easy.
I know it's not easy.
Can't
Yeah,
be.
that's like adding a charge to somebody's bill because they won't let you in the house, that's a pretty drastic step.
It's also the
And Mr. President,
Yeah.
when I was in the street department 22 years ago, we actually did the sump pump checks. I did it for the first 8 months on the street department, and a lot of people had hoses coming out their house, but had their sump pump going directly into the sewer line, because they didn't want the water discharged on their yard and getting it all flooded. So we would go in there and show them what the problem was, give them what they had to do to correct the problem. But back then, we did just sections at a time, so wherever the subdivision might be, we would go and do those homes right in there. Having them call and set up appointments is phenomenal, but, you know, we would leave stickers on the doors and.
So if a person is violating, what keeps them from switching it right back when we leave?
Nothing.
nothing.
Nothing except for we have a paper list, we have a picture of their sump pumps. We're doing like a little report on each one, so we know exactly what's going on, so we're not just going by and making a check mark. I mean, we got a pretty good, you know, we're gonna have a pretty good stack of information when we're done, so, there's nothing though to prevent it other than us knowing that this isn't moved into the yard when we check it, and we could, at that point, we can go back in a time and say, there's no water here coming out of the side of the house where we know
Right.
it was, or,
I guess
again, you're gonna have a few of those.
My thoughts are this, we go in, if we see a house ejecting, it's rained, I don't wanna go in that basement, because if we then go to that guy's basement, we're gonna educate them on why we're checking, and as soon as we leave, they're gonna then bypass it when they don't want their yard to be wet, Bill, or what have you. So we're educating them how to cheat.
Like I stated before, the areas that there is these problems, then we're gonna have to definitely be following up with some stormwater improvement for these places to go, and that's just part of, I mean, unfortunately, when we find these areas where there's a lot of them,
Super
and
flat.
hopefully we're doing it in a direct location, we'll be able to say, hey,
We need to
put this
residue
piece of pipe in 300 feet, we're gonna help 12 houses have a place to drain, and we're gonna identify areas like that where we can make a significant improvement for a number of houses, you know, and kinda pick at it that way.
Yeah,
That's all we can
that
do.
makes
I
sense.
mean, it's not gonna be.
That makes
fixed
total
over-
logical sense.
It's not gonna be fixed overnight, but that's our strategy with not getting the information that we're getting, so we're not just putting a check mark, we're knowing what we're doing, you know, we're putting effort into going doing it, so we're gonna get as much intel as we can as we're doing it, so.
Super.
It should be, like I said, there's gonna be challenges in establishing some areas for the stormwater to go, but most places, most of the places, there is a place for it to go, it's just a matter of getting it there. So,
Right.
I mean, it's just, and we'll be able to say, hey, there's 16 people right here that if we put in 300 feet of pipe and had a place for them to put their sump pumps in, that would, you know, eliminate, you know, and that's what's gonna make us better is doing that. It's just that's gonna be how it has to be done, and that's why we're trying to do an area by area thing, so we can establish that as we're going, instead of spot checking everywhere and spinning in circles. So
Yeah, no,
we're
that's-
trying to do it
okay, good.
actually,
Awesome.
so.
Okay, we'll move on to town attorney.
The water rate proceeding is still proceeding. We are actually in formal discovery, but there is no discovery pending or outstanding. So we're just on a case management schedule, waiting for the next event to occur in the proceeding. It's anticipated there'll be a discussion scheduled with the OUCC. That was their request a year ago when we came back to do that, and they've been too busy to meet with us. So stay on top of it. I'll report back next month when, if there's anything more. And we talked about utility extensions and reimbursement agreements. I've given you a specimen draft form of agreement that I'm working on. I'm looking for your comments or observations, if you will, on it. But we're getting close. That's it.
Rick, anything on the JMOB report?
No, sir.
Do we have any public comment? Do we have any public comment? Do we have any public comment? With no public comment, we'll adjourn, and the next meeting.
Meeting is called to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, a moment of silence. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call.
Robert Carnahan is absent. John Foreman.
Present.
Julia Rivera. Here. Ralph Miller.
Present.
Colleen Scheven. Here. Richard Sharp is absent. Randy Meyer.
Present.
Present. Rick Everly.
Present.
David Austin.
Present.
Quorum has been established. We'll start this evening with the oath of office for Robert Van Kyken.
Mr. Van Kyken, if you would please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Robert Van Kyken,
I, Robert Van Kyken,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will faithfully support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Indiana,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Indiana,
the ordinances of the town of Cedar Lake,
the ordinances of the town of Cedar Lake,
the rules and regulations of the Cedar Lake Fire
the
Department,
rules and regulations of the Cedar Lake Fire Department,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and honestly discharge
and honestly discharge
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
as a firefighter paramedic of the Cedar Lake Fire Department,
as a firefighter paramedic of the Cedar Lake Fire Department,
to which I have been appointed
to which I have been appointed
according to law
according to law
and to the best of my skills and ability.
and the best of my skills and ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
You guys want any little family pictures? Chris? I think that smile says something different right there.
Somebody check.
She actually really likes Dave. Smiling at you.
I'll take her.
Robbie's rejoining us. He was at St. John for a while, and now he's back. So he started with our department and volunteered, worked full-time for us.
Oh, yeah.
Left St. John, or left to go to St. John, and now just recently come back to
Really?
join us again.
Hi, sweetheart. How are you? Oh, my goodness. What a beautiful kid.
He did, yeah. He's done. All right, thank you.
You got him?
Congrats.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks for coming back, Rob.
My pleasure.
Thanks for bringing Riley.
Yeah, no problem.
A chance to meet her.
You got number 2 coming. You got number 2 coming.
It's amazing.
You guys can go, yeah, you all right.
You don't have to be bored for the next hour.
I like that.
I'm gonna work at it, Bill. We have public hearings this evening. Item 1 is ordinance 1394, annexation petition 10702 West 141st Avenue, Neubauer. Attorney review of legals.
They're in order. I clarified the record from last month. Rick correctly identified that the dates were in error in the advertisement. Re-advertisement has occurred, so it's properly before you tonight. The Post-Tribune and the Times have advertised this notice of public hearing properly.
All right, thank you. We need a reading by the title only of the ordinance, then followed by resolution. So ordinance 1394 by its title only, please, Ms. Rivera, if you would.
Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, ordinance number 1394. An ordinance annexing certain contiguous land to the town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, and all matters related thereto.
Thank you. Next is the reading of resolution 1293.
Rick, is it in there?
It is, they're on back-to-back pages, so it would be on the back of your second page.
There it is.
Yeah. Resolution 1293, Mr. President.
Yep, I see it.
Resolution number 1293, a resolution of the Cedar Lake Town Council to approve a fiscal plan and policy for proposed annexation of a parcel of real property to the town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, and all matters related thereto.
Thank you. Are there any remonstrators for or against? Any remonstrators for or against? Third call for remonstrators, there are none. Mr. Anderson?
Yes, we're here, I think basically kind of in the process of redoing what we did last month. So, no further comments other than what we provided last month. I'm here to answer any questions.
Council have any questions for Mr. Anderson?
No, sir.
Okay. Any council discussion? Town council decision on resolution 1293, the fiscal plan. Is there a motion to approve resolution 1293?
I make a motion to approve 1293.
Motion to approve by Ms. Rivera. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Sheehan. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan.
Yes.
Randy England.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Mr. Austin, we need to consider the ordinance as well, correct?
No, that will be at your December 7th public meeting,
Okay, thank you.
adopted reading.
Okay. You're staying up for the next one?
Yeah.
Okay. Item 2 is ordinance 1395, annexation petition for 12416 Wicker Avenue, Ravens. Mr. Austin, attorney, review of legals.
The legals are in order for this public hearing this evening. This likewise was an item on your agenda last month and was the subject of a misprint in the notice of public hearing. So it's been re-advertised, it's properly advertised for tonight in each of the Times and the Post Tribune on October 23rd. It's ready
Okay.
to go.
Introductory reading of ordinance 1395. Ms. Rivera, by title only, please.
Ordinance number 1395, an ordinance annexing certain contiguous land to the town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, and all matters related thereto.
Thank you. Next is reading of resolution 1294, fiscal plan and policy for annexation Ravens. By title only, please. Ms. Rivera.
Resolution number 1294, a resolution of the Cedar Lake Town Council to approve a fiscal plan and policy for proposed annexation of a parcel of real property to the town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, and all matters related thereto.
Thank you. Is there any remonstrators for or against? Second call for remonstrators. Third call for remonstrators. No remonstrators noted. Town council discussion. Any questions for Mr. Anderson?
The only thing I would bring up was, with respect, last time we had a motion to amend, to change the default zoning from agriculture to B3, given the location of this property. We request that that be entertained again by the council.
That would be at the ordinance adoption. It's not up for adoption tonight, and I will make that change.
We'll let the record show the comments. That was the intention of the council as well. Is there a town council decision on resolution 1294?
Motion to approve resolution 1294.
Thank you. Motion by Mr. Foreman. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Miller. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan.
Yes.
Randy England.
Yes, motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Before we go to public comment, I am going to add 2 agenda items here. We have a request for qualifications for insurance services that the council has in their packets in the yellow form. That'll be item number 10 under new business. And item 11 under new business will be the training reimbursement for Mr. Van Kyken, who we just appointed to the fire department.
Mr. President, you do already have the request for qualifications on page
Do we?
3 under item number 6. So,
Why did I not see that? There it is. Sorry, strike number 10 as that, make number 10 the training reimbursement. looked through this packet no less than 10 times and never saw it, so my apologies.
Busy packet.
Public comment on agenda items. Second call, public comment on agenda items. Third call, public comment on agenda items. Jen, anything online?
No.
Thank you. Consent agendas, the minutes of November 2nd, 2021 meeting, claims, all town funds, $581,258.33. Wastewater operating, $126,901.09. Water utility, $40,488.16. Stormwater, $2,036.73. Payroll, 10/28/21 and 11/10/21 of $297,769.01. And payroll remittances of $166,907.04. Annual journal entries, October 1 through 31, 2021. And donations, Fraternal Order of Eagles, $100 for trunk or treat. Is there a motion to accept and waive the reading of the minutes, accept the consent agendas listed?
Moved.
Motion by Mr. Foreman, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Sheehan, questions or discussion? Roll call.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan.
Yes.
Randy Neiman.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Ordinances and resolutions, item number 1 is ordinance 1400, adoption of the year 2022 salary ordinance. The first reading was 11/2 of 21. Ms. Sandberg, would you read by its title only, please, and a brief explanation?
Ordinance number 1400, an ordinance amending town salary ordinance number 1370, establishing jobs and salaries to be paid certain offices, positions, and jobs within the town of Cedar Lake for the year 2022, and repealing all ordinances or parts thereof in conflict therewith. So we had previously discussed just a couple of scrivener's errors. The last time, there have been no major changes since then, but I would like to, if I could, I'd like to strike one holiday that's listed under holiday pay. Right now, the ordinance lists Monday, January 3rd, 2022, New Year's Day observed. Technically, the way we have it written and everything, since New Year's Day falls on a Saturday, we should actually observe it the Friday before. So with your blessing, I'd like to strike that, and then at your next meeting, I will have an amendment to the current year salary ordinance to have December 31st as New Year's Day observed.
Okay. Could, within the motion, if it is the pleasure of the council, could you include the comments of the clerk treasurer to strike the New Year's Day observed
Absolutely.
from January 3rd to December 31st?
You bet.
We'll observe it December 31st, 2021, so this year, so everybody else will get that Friday as that holiday.
I concur.
Well, we'll need that as part of the motion.
Making that motion, Mr. Foreman.
I had made that motion. Didn't I already make this motion?
Nope. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance 1400?
Adoption.
Now everybody's
I
looking.
didn't write down, I make a motion to adopt ordinance number 1400 with the comments read into the record by Jennifer Sandberg, our clerk treasurer,
Thank you.
regarding vacation. Thank you. I didn't write down these days, so, thank you.
It's for holiday.
Holidays, observances.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Miller. Questions or discussion?
Not to muddy the waters, the two ordinances we just did, we should set aside and give them back to the town so we don't have to reprint them and waste money because we're gonna need them next month for the approvals on those two.
For the annexation.
For the annexation, for the earlier items, safe paper. Sorry to get off on a tangent. here,
That's
folks.
very,
Green of you.
yeah.
Very green.
Were you
Thank you
working
very
with
much.
John Kerry at the,
Thank you very much.
Summit?
You're gonna start selling John Deere's.
Yeah.
Greta Van Foreman? Is that who that is?
Greta Van Foreman.
There you go.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? Roll call.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan.
Yes.
Randy Neiman.
Yes. Carries 5-0, it's adopted. Item 2 is ordinance 1401, establishing and setting fire and emergency medical service rates and fees. Ms. Rivera, by title only, please. Mr. Austin and Mr. Wilkening then for background.
Ordinance number 1401, an ordinance amending town ordinance number 1261 and all previous town ordinances establishing and setting fire and emergency medical service rates and fees for the town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, repealing all ambulance and emergency medical services rate ordinances and town code sections or parts thereof in conflict herewith and all matters related hereto.
Thank you. Mr. Austin.
This is the long-awaited mandatory fire and emergency medical service rate ordinance that Todd and I have been working on for some time. It's in pretty good form. Todd did a nice job of breaking down costs and expenses as we've talked about, which he would know intimately and I wouldn't. We've incorporated the proposed and requested amended rates based upon that analysis and that review of the costs, if you will, to provide the services that are specified in the schedule in the ordinance. It's in good shape for your consideration for an introductory reading. I know you need a bit of time probably to do that. I encourage that. And I know Todd will probably have a few comments, but I would recommend your introductory consideration tonight so we can keep this moving.
Thank you. Chief Wilkening.
Kind of in a nutshell, what we did was we eliminated the out-of-town and in-town fees and made a one flat fee for everybody. Attorney Austin felt that that was the right thing to do so that we were transparent across the board with everybody. We added the fire service charges to the list. The only real addition is the increase a little bit in the EMS calls, and then the addition of structure fire, vehicle fire, and then extrication. Those three and hazmat cleanup costs to be billed to the insurance company only. At no point in time will those costs go to collections. The EMS billing does go to collections, and it has forever, which we also have the right to write off hard case situations where people can't pay. And I have that authority as a chief to do that based upon recommendation, basically through the attorney and then looking at, a payment process throughout. So, this is a very simple version of what I actually wanted. I wanted it, originally we wanted it a lot more billing opportunities. But after looking at all this, it was way easier, way better, a lot cleaner, do it exactly the way we have it now. So, at the end of the day, we'll be able to charge those insurance costs, and we'll be able to get reimbursed for any damaged or lost or destroyed equipment through the insurance companies only.
Well, in looking at the cost structure set up and having reviewed my own insurance policies, these things, they fall right in line as to what is allowable under at least the insurance that I carry, so.
Yeah, there's nothing out of line with any of it it's just that it's not gonna go back to the actual property owner, it'll go to their insurance company. Only we will collect what we can collect, and then we will move forward from there.
Mr. Everly, if the council approves this first reading, I would like you to forward this policy to the township trustee as being a contract partner of ours to make sure that they have it within their possession for their review, and if they have any questions, those can be answered.
Will do.
Okay, we've heard reading of ordinance 1401. Is there a motion by the council to approve on its introductory reading?
I'll make the motion to approve on the introductory reading.
By Ms. Sheehan. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Rivera. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Colleen Scheven,
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Item 3 is Resolution 1296, Lake Ecosystem Restoration Project Stormwater Service User Fee Waivers. Ms. Rivera, by title only, please.
Resolution number 1296, a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, waiving a payment of stormwater service user fees by the Lake Heritage Parks Foundation, Inc., and Lake County Parks and Recreation Department, and all matters related thereto.
Thank you, Mr. Everly.
Mr. President, I'm gonna hand you out the most recent version. I apologize, the one that's in your packets this one has a small change to it. In section 1, the duration of the waiver would be to the end of the project plus 1 year. Mr. Austin and I discussed that. He added that condition, and I thought that was the perfect way to handle that, but the one that's in your packet doesn't have that language in section 1. Other than that, it's the same document.
Okay, thank you.
And the Heritage Foundation, on board with this?
Yes,
For the
they,
county?
well, I think they wanted a specific number of years,
Okay.
but this goes the length of the project plus 1 year.
Gotcha, thank you.
Yeah, but they wanted a much longer.
They wanted 10 years.
Yeah. I remember, thank you.
Okay. The record has been corrected by the town manager in passing out the new resolution. Nothing changed in the title of it, so we don't need to read that again. Is there a motion by the council to approve resolution 1296?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Miller, is there a second?
I second. Yes, motion.
Second by Mr. Foreman. Questions or discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Austin?
the consideration for this resolution needed to be established so that there were no violations of law and enforcement of your stormwater rate fee ordinance. That's a mandatory fee collected from each and every lot and parcel of real estate in our town. So this sets up the consideration being the conveyance and opportunity to use land of this entity for purposes of the ecosystem project.
Thank you.
I think we'll be looking for an easement or some instrument from this entity, and we'll need to have that for the project.
Correct.
Any other questions or discussion? Roll call.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Colleen Scheven.
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. BZA and Plan, item 1, letter of credit, Centennial States Phase 2, Mr. Everly.
Mr. President, both of these next two items that you have on your agenda came to you with a favorable recommendation from the Plan Commission. I understand Mr. Austin has reviewed and approved of the forms of the letters of credit, so these are ready for your action.
Record consonant.
Thank you. We have favorable recommendation from the Plan Commission for the Centennial Estates letter of credit in the amount of $132,532.10. Is there a motion by the council to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Foreman, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Rivera. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Colleen Scheven.
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Item 2 is letter of credit, Centennial Villas Phase 2, Mr. Everly.
Again, same thing, it comes to you with a favorable recommendation from the Plan Commission. Mr. Austin, I believe, has reviewed and approved of a form of letter of credit. It's in the amount of $103,940.34.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve as read into the record by the town manager?
I'll make the motion to approve as read by the town manager.
Motion by Ms. Sheehan, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Foreman. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Colleen Scheven.
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer.
Yes, carries 5-0. New business, item 1 is professional services agreement, Lake Ecosystem Bond Financing of 2021, Phil Facenda Barnes and Thornburg LLP. Mr. Everly?
Mr. President, this is in anticipation of the redevelopment commission bond financing we're anticipating for the lake ecosystem. Mr. Austin, I believe, has had a chance to review the contract. David?
Yeah, I have, the record can reflect such. It's catching the paper up to the deal. Phil's already working for us.
So it says here the estimated fees will be $50,000 to $65,000. So I would recommend it. Is that accurate?
It is accurate and fairly fluid financing. I talked with Attorney Facenda today, and it may not end up being a pure TIF financing, but maybe a lease rental revenue bond financing. So there's some, and that's to avoid and comply with statutory authority on various types of financing. So they're working pretty hard at this to drill it down into the best value for the bond money. And we know we have a total here of projects of $5.9 million, 3.9 of which is anticipated to be financed through TIF revenue, and the other part through wastewater. It's just a matter how we get there, preserving the maximum amount available for actual project.
So I'd recommend, if the council is favorable to this, in a motion to include a not to exceed of $65,000, unless we see a different proposal that makes that adjustment.
Very good.
Is there a motion?
I would like to make a motion for the professional service agreement, ecosystem bond financing 2021 with Barnes and Thornburg, not to exceed $65,000.
Thank you. Motion by Mr. Foreman, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Rivera. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan.
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Item 2 is new special events permit, Police Department, Mr. Fisher.
Mr. President. This was something that we had proposed to Mr. Everly a couple of weeks ago. Just that when we have these events around town, that they actually fill out a permit application so that everybody that's involved can be properly notified with just some basic information. I know there's some stuff that the town requires with insurance certifications and things of that nature, occupancy issues for the fire department. It was just something that they're doing around town. It would be delivered to the fire chief, the police chief, and the town manager, and then the patrol commander for security purposes if they need security for something. So it was something that we wanted to bring up so that we could be more informative of incidents or parties that are happening around town from time to time. And
There was no fine or fee anticipated with this document. It was more just for informational purposes for police and fire departments so that they were aware of events around the community.
I think it's gonna be important for us to identify what is a special event, right? Like, let's say somebody has a birthday party at their home and there's 50 people there. Is that a special event? You have to have it insured. I mean, these are things.
I think it would be simply identified as you know, renting of facilities, probably more than 75 people, with loud DJs and
So if
things
there's,
of that
if
nature.
there's a wedding at the After 4 Club,
Right.
a wedding reception.
That could be considered a special event, sure.
But is it a private,
Well, that's why I'm asking these questions.
I think what this is
I think we
if
need some
somebody.
vetting.
This was more of like around using the town grounds.
That's right.
When we have a few subdivisions that have literally block parties, that they'll call and notify us, or they won't call and notify us, and all of a sudden we have a block party going on, where they actually block off the road.
And then do they invite you guys?
They always do, but the problem is simply access for law enforcement or fire if there's an incident. You know, I would hate to have a block party where we got 200 people standing in the road, and then chief's gotta bring an engine or a ladder truck down that road where it's, you know. So by doing this, they fill all the information out, and they actually gives us the contact information if there's an incident or something that's going on.
Parades too,
Little League parades.
And the form itself might be fine, but I think in order to, like, implement a policy like this, we've got to answer a lot of questions.
Why don't you just spell it out on there, a list of the events that we're talking about that goes with it?
I think we have to have a list of what.
Yeah, I mean, a
Exactly.
birthday
How many
party,
people
Randy,
and what
you're
they
right.
are, yeah.
The guy's having 50 people at his house, I mean, that's not containing, but it's an under
But,
interpretation.
and then also, if you're at a private venue, like an after-4 club or a lighthouse, and having a banquet in a
No,
banquet
that,
facility.
I don't think that would require it either. I don't think that, because they're actually built for that, you know what I'm saying? These are events that are special, that are, out of the ordinary, right? It came up because we had an event in town that we were unaware of. I think the fire chief, and I'm trying to recall when we decided to put this together and present it to the town manager, was quite a few months ago, and we kind of tabled it because it got to the end of the year and we didn't have events again, and then it resurfaced recently again. So, we had come up with this form, a fillable, PDF file that's actually on the town, it could be on the town's website to say, hey, this is the event we're having, this is the contact information, and then
Is it also regarding the softball?
Well, the problem is
definitely.
sometimes you get multiple things on one weekend.
Right.
You know, we had the softball tournament, we had the Legion event, we had a wedding down here at the town at the same time, and next thing you know.
Motorcycle runs going through
Yeah,
town.
motorcycle runs.
We're gonna need to not just have a form online, but we're gonna have to have some policy
Yeah.
objectives outlined so people can read it and say, okay, I need to fill this out, or I don't need to fill this out.
I'm okay with that. This was just an idea for us that we presented to the town manager that, at the time we were looking at, it kind of got tabled, just because of the time of the year. I think it wasn't.
Yeah, several years back, Dave and I worked on, I think it was 2012 or 13, a special events ordinance
Sure.
that spelled out all those definitions. Maybe we can dust that off.
We still have it,
Yeah,
where we could at least look at what your idea was, and maybe present it at the next meeting or something.
It was in your final form.
Yeah, we were really close to having it ready, so I think.
We could have it
that's
as the second
something
page on this.
Well, we could review it, see what applies, see what we might need to take out or tweak or
Sure.
whatever, and then be able to look at something like this and be able to make sure there's clarity for the public, so people aren't panicking that, oh my God, my kid's having a 6th birthday party.
Well, it'd be every
I gotta buy
weekend.
insurance for it, right? I mean, we know
Randy,
what
do you
people are
recall
thinking
if
now.
that ordinance that you and Dave worked on was ever adopted, or was it?
It wasn't.
I didn't think so, because when Margaret looked for it, and she did find.
It turned into a big argument,
Okay,
yeah.
well, she found an ordinance that had a very brief mention of special events in it, but there was no definition to it, there was no detail at all.
It never got on an agenda.
Okay.
Our purpose, Mr. President, was just to be notified of certain things. I mean, we've had incidents where people have live bands in their yards for graduation, and that could cause a lot of issues. So if we just at least know about it, and then can be informative of them, the fire chief can know about it and be informative to them. Say, hey, okay, that's no problem, you can have this, but you gotta understand what the ordinance reads. You know, so they know up front. You know, so.
Yeah,
For noise ordinance, it's,
Whatever it might be,
I think
yeah,
the
bonfires or
private
whatever.
property stuff, I don't really wanna besmirch on someone's private property unless they're blocking a public thoroughfare.
well, I
Or
think the
party
parks,
like a block party. or
Hanover
they're-
Park,
they're utilizing public property. But the private property thing, as long as they're not violating noise ordinances or nuisance ordinances, then that's a tough sell to tell somebody, hey, you're having a private party, but you gotta fill this out.
Well, I agree with you on a private party, but when you change it to having a live band or
Yeah, but if
something
they're, but if they're not on
that
the
is
public
obviously
land.
gonna disturb the peace because of its sound,
You
then
can't
if you
assume
let
that
us know
they're-
that ahead of time, we can be informative to them, say, hey, that's no problem, this is what the ordinance reads, just so you're aware of it. We
but
don't
then
have any.
does Havenwood then all of a sudden need to do this when they have their annual block party? You know what I mean? Where do you draw the line? I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I respectfully disagree with that, Chief, but, yeah, that's why we need to have this discussion. We've gotta vet the thing.
I'm open for that.
debate it and figure out what the best approach for.
We came up with a simple form, sir, so that's all it was
No,
originally, and.
It's a good start, we
Yeah.
gotta have these
Yeah.
conversations, so.
Okay.
Dave, let's dust off, go into the archives of Austin Kiefer Decitus and,
Dungeon trip.
yep, make a trip to the dungeon. So, I will entertain a motion to defer this item pending further discussion.
Motion to defer.
Motion by Mr. Foreman to defer, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Rivera, questions or discussion? Roll call.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Julie Rivera.
Yes.
Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Colleen Scheven.
Yes.
Randy Neiman.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Item 3 is Cedar Lake Storage License Agreement, Mr. Everly.
This is Mr. Austin to, I believe, explain, Mr. President.
Mr. Austin?
Performance surety for the asphalt installation at the Cedar Lake Storage property was the purpose for this agreement. In order to access the property, there needed to be permission. This is private property for which this performance has been provided. That was the condition of approval from the BZA, and hence you have a license agreement in front of you.
Thank you. Is there a motion by the council to approve the Cedar Lake Storage License Agreement as submitted?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Ms. Sheehan, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Rivera, questions or discussion? One item of discussion, this was heavily vetted in some meetings, and I totally agree with the BZA Plan Commission's assertions on this, that we have to stop just accepting, well, there's just gonna be gravel there, right? They wouldn't do that in any other town. They wouldn't get away with it in Cherville or St. John or Crown Point or anywhere else. We have several areas around here that haven't followed our standards in the past, and we've got to kind of draw that line, so I appreciate the work that went into this and the debate that took place. It was a very hearty and healthy debate.
Spirited,
Yes,
if you will,
there was a good deal of passion on either side of it.
or more.
Any other questions or discussion? Roll call.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Julie Rivera.
Yes.
Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Colleen Scheven.
Yes.
Randy Neiman.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Item 4, request to purchase additional decorative posts and signs using Fund Number 270, IIC Special Revenue Non-Reverting Fund. Who wants this?
This is Mr. Kubiak.
Oh, boy.
Next two items, Mr. Kubiak.
Here I am again.
This guy's a lot of money.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
This guy likes
asking
spending
for
money.
more money.
Yeah, you're gonna go for a six-figure night, huh?
Yeah, we're crazy, trying to get this
It is
thing.
a creep.
You wanna be
Anyway.
fire chief?
You've been training, I've been on a special class every week.
Hey,
Anyways,
one from the best.
This is,
Whoa.
60 more.
I had hit there.
This is 60 more of the decorative stop signs, street sign posts. We currently bought 50 last time for $14,000, I think. This time 60 of them is $21,000. It's about $355 a post. That's including the stop sign backer, the post, the brackets to hang the street signs on. If you notice, we started at the south end of town and made it to Morse. We got a couple out by 41 and 133rd. This 60 would be enough to finish Lakeshore Drive around the lake, do Klein north to the town limits, and Parrish south and north, and then Lollerman. So, and then that leaves us about, like 6 or 8 extra for when people run them over and we need to replace them. Buying them in bulk saves us a little over half. They're almost $800 a piece to buy one. We're getting them for $355 a piece by buying them in the bulk. So
You better hang out with your wife, huh? This is not a sale, we better
it's like
buy it.
Costco, you go,
Get
you
100.
buy a whole
Killing it.
pallet, you get.
I love, you
You ain't
know,
learn anything, get 100.
in 2013, when we did this branding, you know, this was part of that bigger vision, so this is really neat to see this come to fruition.
Do we put the letters on, or do they?
Well, actually, if you look in the packet, there's one sheet that shows the signs we actually purchased from another source, that's the traffic control specialist. You see the crews for all the signs, and then the actual posts come from the manufacturer, that Custom Products in Missouri.
Gotcha.
The signs, the poles were 21,000, and the signs were, I don't know where the math was, but the signs were like.
Almost 8,000.
The signs were almost $8,000, so. Last time we did it in two separate shots, we did the posts and then we did the signs separately, but this is all of that stuff that we need to pretty much finish our main area, so.
And this is from
Cool, looks really good.
TCS Specialists,
Correct,
is that correct? Okay.
correct. That's where we've been getting all of our actual signs.
Thank you.
Signs.
We have a proposal from TCS Specialists for a total amount of $29,179.25.
And-
It's actually two, one part of it is.
And
the
Custom
sign-
Products Corp.
And Custom
Correct.
Products Corp.,
Yes. it's
for
two.
how much?
The total is the $29,179.
Gotcha, okay. I stand corrected. Is there a motion by the council to approve?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Miller, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Rivera, questions or discussion? Roll call.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan.
Yes.
Randy Engmeyer.
Yes, motion carries 5-0.
Told you, Dave.
There you go, Dave.
I can get on it.
Dave has been in charge of getting all of them installed, and, he's kind of leading the charge on putting all the new ones up and
They look
getting
cool.
them up, so.
Thank you. They look really good.
They're
Doing good.
very visible or easy to see.
And they've done a super, I mean, compared to other people that put them in, we got a 3-foot, 12-inch post in the ground with concrete, and they're installed nice, so they're not gonna fall down. And, I mean, they're definitely a good asset, so.
So basically, those things are set up to where if somebody runs into them, the car is gonna take the brunt of the hit, not the sign.
Well, they do fail, and
Oh.
they can be replaced without replacing the concrete. They're kind
Gotcha.
of designed to be what they are, so.
All right, thank you. Item 5 is use of park impact fee for new clubhouse equipment. Mr. Everly?
Yeah, and again, I'll let Tim talk about the detail
Oh,
of this.
here's another one for Tim.
We, in light of the fact that we've increased some of all of our rental fees for our various facilities, we thought it was time to update the clubhouse particularly. And we're getting a new, I know, again, I'll turn it over to Tim to talk about the detail here, but we.
Tim, if this one is approved, you will be over $100
I
grand
think
for a night.
I'm going for broke here.
And a boy, and a boy.
This is gonna be a really
This
nice.
is- I mean, this is
proud,
for-
Chief?
I'm proud of him.
This is for the
All
clubhouse,
those classes finally kicking in.
clubhouse
Oh, Lord
kitchen
have
area.
mercy.
We're trying to, like I said, there's been some requests, the Parks Board wanted us to get a stove in there. The refrigerator that's in there is pretty much a home refrigerator that's falling apart, that area in the kitchen. So we decided, we got pricing from a couple different companies Margaret worked on, and, we got a 4-foot commercial refrigerator, a commercial stove, a new sink and a table for in that kitchen, and then, new chairs, tables, and carts for all the capacity of the 160 chairs, tables, and that can be stacked on the cart and pushed and put away instead of stuff scattered all over the place. So it kind of upgrades all of the facility, minus the only thing that we would need besides this is a new floor in that kitchen area, which we'll probably end up doing ourselves this winter.
Yeah.
Just putting a floor down.
It definitely needs it, that's outdated.
Do we know how much revenue that clubhouse generates in a year?
I don't know the number off the top of my head, Randy, but I know it keeps Margaret hopping all of our rentals.
There's people there all the time,
All the
that's
time.
amazing.
I'm always hearing her on the phone saying, sorry, that weekend's booked, sorry, that date is booked.
Wow.
We should know though.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to
It
know
would be interesting.
what that revenue
The
stream
back
is.
shelf,
we can
everything.
Revenue for
Good, easy spreadsheet to put together.
But again, it's just updating it and making it what it needs to be. I mean, right now, there's just nothing there for as far as, you know, if we're gonna do it, we just figured we would, I mean, we're gonna end up, on top of this, we're just gonna get 2 over-the-stove microwaves and put them over the range hood, and it'll be, you know, when you walk in there, it'll be what you expect to see in there, that's all. So it's nothing.
Mr. Austin, does this meet the legal definitions of usages of those funds?
It does.
Okay.
It's, yes, it is.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a motion by the council on use of park impact fees for new clubhouse equipment for the total of $25,861.95?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Ms. Sheehan, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Miller, questions or discussion? Roll call?
John Foreman,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Colleen Scheven.
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer.
Yes. Motion carries 5-0. Congratulations on your big night, Tim.
God bless you.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Go out and celebrate.
That's it.
Yeah.
Except for my $10.22, Jen.
$10.88.
$10.88.
Item 6 is seeking request for qualifications for an insurance broker awarded in December. So this came out of our last council meeting. I had asked the council to support the formulation of an RFQ so we could see who is out there in the insurance provider business to see if we can improve the service model as well as find ways to improve our risk model. One of the goals that I think we need to have as a community is to become self-insured at some point. And in order to do that, it's going to take a great deal of work with our partners to help facilitate it. And the reason I think you want to become self-insured as the community grows is because it can save you hundreds of thousands of dollars in cost, which can then be invested into the people who serve the public, which we all know that demand never quits, and we always got to find new ways and new sources of how to support our public employees and maintain good benefits and improve pay, but also create a safer work environment. So these are all things that kind of tie hand in hand, and we may end up with the same provider we have now, but I think going through this process will help all of us to understand what's in the marketplace, give us an idea of the opportunities that we have to improve to reach some of those goals, to become a more proactive community as it relates to managing claims and managing risk. So the yellow sheet in front of you is the basic outline of what an RFQ will entail for benefits and for property and casualty. Very basic questions, and hopefully we get several people submitting who would like to come and speak with us and give us an opportunity to have some choices to make.
That's good.
Is there a motion by the council to approve the request for qualifications outline as submitted?
I'd like to make a motion to seek the request for qualifications as outlined.
Thank you. Motion by Mr. Foreman. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Rivera. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
John Foreman.
Yes.
Julie Rivera.
Yes.
Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Colleen Scheven.
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Just to inform everybody, when you change an insurance brokerage, it doesn't necessarily mean that you give up your insurance policies.
Correct.
It's a broker of record. It's somebody who's managing your business. So that's kind of what we're pursuing here, is that management model that fits where we want to go as a community. Item 7 is authorize the town council president to sign the CCMG agreements and NDOT LPA contracts. Mr. Everly?
Mr. President, just as you indicated here, we need to have a signatory authorized, and for simplicity, I believe that should be the council president. and it can be council president, not specific to a name, but the position is authorized to do this. Now, we have 3 options where NDOT's concerned. We can do this by resolution, and we just didn't, by the time we got the word that we needed to do this, we didn't have time to put a resolution together. Or you can do it by motion in the meeting to authorize the president to sign either of those 2 documents or both of those 2 documents. What we can't do by resolution or motion is authorize the president to sign all NDOT contracts going forward. That's something, we have to do that by ordinance according to the folks at NDOT. That's something I'd like us to consider at a future meeting, to allow the president to sign all NDOT contracts and do that by ordinance to make it simpler. But for the purposes of this particular LPA agreement and the CCMG agreement, we just need a motion by the council. Jen, we're gonna need an excerpt of the minutes of tonight's meeting to provide to NDOT along with the signatures. And then once we have the full approval minutes, then we'll follow that up and provide them with a copy of the full minutes of tonight's meeting.
Noted.
Thank you. So you've heard the explanation from the town manager. Is there a motion by the council to authorize the town council president to sign the CCMG agreements and NDOT LPA contracts?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Foreman,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Sheehan. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Colleen Schemen,
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Item 8, ratify NDOT agreement to combine the 2 2021-2 CCMG projects. Mr. Eberly.
Yes, Mr. President, this is a new development on NDOT's part, where if a community is lucky enough, as we were, to be recipients of 2 projects to be funded through the CCMG project, and for us in 2022, that will be the Parish Avenue project and the Vermillion project. When that happens, you can combine those projects now, where heretofore you could not. The advantage is that if one project overruns
We can use it.
and the other one underruns, you can use the funds from the underrun on the overrun. So
And
you
less
can-
paperwork, right?
You can use them interchangeably, so,
Good.
I think that's a good development, and, we were under a time crunch to get that signed and back to NDOT, so I asked Randy, and he was good enough to sign that last week. We've sent that back to NDOT, they have it. This is a ratification of that, signing.
Thank you, Mr. Eberly. Is there a motion by the council to
I'd like to make a
ratify?
motion to approve the ratification of the NDOT agreement.
Thank you. Motion by Mr. Foreman,
Second.
second by Mr. Miller. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Colleen Schemen,
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Item 9 is Westlake HMA overlay change order number 1, Mr. Everly.
And, Mr. President, I'm gonna defer to Mr. Kubiak on this one. I think he's had more conversation with, the Burke firm on this change order, but this is, as it says, for the west side of the lake, paving project. We still anticipate all but one of those roads to be able to be paved yet this year. I believe milling is supposed to start tomorrow and paving on Thursday. Tim, the change order was because, is it because we anticipated more work on 129th than we thought? Or?
I truly don't know what the change order was for, I did not hear what this is.
Okay,
Yeah, I think it was, I talked to Don.
129th is not going to be done this year.
Right,
But-
it needs more,
Right.
depth, more, pavement, what do I say?
Yeah, we were gonna dig out the sides of 129th and put millings back in to restabilize the road base, but by the time we figured disposing of all of the material that we dug out, it was gonna be way more economical to mill it down to the dirt and just have dirt spoils to get rid of instead of asphalt, so, that was,
That's correct. I spoke to Don about that.
Yeah.
Because I was curious.
So this change order is a $14,000 increase.
Increase, yes, sir. Yep.
Okay, is there a motion by the council to approve the Westlake HMA overlay change order number 1? $14,000.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Ms. Rivera, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Sheben, questions or discussion? Roll call.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Colleen Scheven.
Yes.
Randy Nemmeyer.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Item 10 will be the training reimbursement for Rob Van Kyken. Ms. Sandberg.
So this is a part of the normal process when having a new hire within the fire department or even the police department. This is the training reimbursement agreement, that they enter into with us. So just need your approval.
Thank you.
And signature by council president.
A motion by the council to approve the training reimbursement
So
agreement.
moved.
Thank you. Motion by Mr. Foreman, is there a second?
I second.
Second by Ms. Rivera. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Julie Rivera.
Yes.
Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Colleen Scheven.
Yes.
Randy Nemmeyer.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Reports, town council. I have a couple little things here. Next Monday, the 22nd, I will have in the town hall a meeting, I think at 6 p.m. with Veritas Group and Context Design. Context Design was one of the lead firms on Grand Park in Westfield, Indiana, which is a massive athletic complex. So we will be holding our first visioning session for that dream.
Have you invited the Little League president and the softball president?
I spoke with Mr. Stanger and I spoke with Mr. Spikert, and I've asked them to reach out to other stakeholders
Good.
who are basketball, football, soccer. Anybody interested needs to be a part of these discussion groups. The job of the town is kind of a facilitator.
That's right.
And also there will be an economic development piece to surround this that will support that venue. But to get it started, we gotta have that first session where everybody can get their ideas out on the table.
Mr. President, we had to move our Board of Safety meeting to Monday because of Thanksgiving. We'll be in here at 5:30 for executive session, 6 o'clock. Were you intending on using the big room?
I was, yeah.
Bill, it can be next door.
Pardon?
It can be next door.
Our meeting?
Sure.
Next door.
The conference room here. The conference room here, you mean,
Conference
Dave?
room here or building across the parking lot.
Okay. We can do that. We'll advertise it.
I'm hoping for interest from the public for this.
Yeah. We looked on this calendar, didn't see any events in there. I think that's why we changed it, so.
It's okay. So that's happening next week, very excited about that. Also, Chief Wilkening and I have been having some sidebar conversations about getting started on the process of getting a new fire engine. Fire engine is probably one of the most important pieces of equipment that they have that goes out on many, many, many calls. So I would like, Josh, you're here from the Board of Safety. I think that needs to be a part of discussions in earnest. We need to sit down with our financial advisor and try to figure out a plan on how to make that happen. The newest engine we have, I believe, is the one owned by Hanover Township, which is a very good engine. But with the growth of our community, it is time to invest in some more equipment. We got a great ladder truck. We've got fabulous ambulances. The township trustee purchased a tanker truck. I mean, we're upgrading the fleet, so it's exciting, but it's gonna be a big purchase. It's gonna take a lot of planning. There's gonna be probably some back and forth as far as what we all think we need, but this process needs to get started right away. That way the bid spec can be put together and hopefully ready sometime early next year. And, but again, meetings with financial advisors, Board of Safety, and town manager and others, the clerk treasurer, these things all need to be done and get the wheels in motion to see when we can execute this.
Yeah, custom fire engine is 16 months away from the time you
Right.
order it, so we're talking, we wouldn't, if we ordered it today, we wouldn't see it for almost 2 years for a custom truck. So,
Yep, so that's something I wanted to put on the table tonight to get everybody looking at that. We do have a facilities meeting coming up next week.
Yes, the 23rd, 10 a.m. is the time, right? Yeah, right.
Right, that's to discuss
The building.
the future building projects of fire, police,
Yeah,
town facilities, so
good.
we've got a lot of things
A lot
that
of
we're getting started on, and it's an exciting time. Okay, that's all the reports I have. Bob's not here, so.
Go ahead, Ralph.
I was gonna mention that Saturday night at the Lighthouse, Clea is gonna be having a fundraiser to help with the lake project and that. And it's $100 a ticket, and they're also raffling off a boat, which is $100 a ticket.
You're not allowed to buy one with raffle tickets,
I
right?
already got it.
Oh, no.
Well, I think the one rule is that this man can't win it.
That's right. I don't have one, my name's not on one of them, let me tell you. I don't need that. Okay, so I wanted to also add that, I think Randy, if you could get with Rick, send a letter to the Hanover football team.
Yeah.
I think we should recognize them, they did a heck of a job.
Sectional champ.
And we got a lot of great press from the newspapers about our community, because of it, so on and so forth. But I think we did that for the sectional basketball team. I think it would be something good if they can make it, maybe come 15 minutes early, start their meeting early one night or something. I think it'd go a long way.
To expand on that, Hanover Central in general is really, the growth has been hard on the school corporation, but they've done a great job with athletics, but academics too. Tracy Haskell, who's the school board rep that sits on the RDC, had mentioned to us last night that the report's supposed to come out soon about where they're at in the rankings, and they think they're gonna be number 2 as far as their academic achievements. And a huge kudos and credit goes to the leadership there that's kept the kids in school. While I know people are upset that the kids are wearing masks, and I understand that, but as Tracy and I spoke, that if you're not wearing the mask, you may have teachers revolt, and wearing the mask, you're gonna have parents revolt, so I don't know if there's a right answer for any of it.
Right.
We can all have our own personal opinions, which I have, but we can't argue with the results of actually having kids educated in person.
I would agree.
It's been a massive difference for these kids to be in school. So I'm very happy that the school corporation's done the job they've done in enhancing our community, so.
can I add one thing to that, Randy?
Yes, sir.
We have a councilman sitting up here that was the board president of the Junior Wildcats when football was started. And without John Foreman and his Junior Wildcats group, we wouldn't have football today. It went to that, Pop Warner, to build a feeder program first, and then to the school, and then
Well,
the school board.
Comich, it was a community event, it was a
School board,
pure
yep.
grassroots
It
event.
was a big time.
Fundraisers.
You name it. We did everything we could to get it off the ground, and the whole community embraced it. And
It was good fun.
John
It
deserves
was
a
good
lot
fun.
of credit for
No, I
the amount
know,
of work
it was
he
a
did.
group effort.
No, you
Guys like
deny
Ray
it,
Demoff
but
and all those guys.
you
no,
can
no,
deny
no.
it, but it
It
started
was
there.
good
Well,
fun.
and hopefully with the building of an athletic complex, it will only serve to enhance that.
I would agree.
That this will become a destination point for athletics, and our kids here in Cedar Lake will be able to wear that name Cedar Lake proudly across their chests on their uniforms and not have to go to Crown Point or St. John to play.
And we still say when we paint the water tower, we put a Wildcat, home of the Wildcats, on the west side of the water tower. Bob's not here tonight to fight with me. We build a water tower on the east side of the lake, Cedar Lake on the west side of the water
Home of
tower,
the Bulldogs.
Bulldogs on the,
It's not the home of the Bulldogs.
the east side.
And then if we build that
It's-
water
That east side
tank,
is, don't argue with Bob on that one, buddy.
It's in Crown Point.
hey, John, then we build a water
It's
tank on the
Bulldog
south
country.
end, which is a part of the
Whoa.
big picture.
There you go,
It's
man.
home of the Red Devils.
Red Devils on the south
Yeah.
side of that one, you know
So
it.
Cedar Lake is home of the Red Devils now?
It is.
Oh,
So the part
I didn't
of
know we had
Linswood.
their high school in our town.
Linswood.
Oh, boy. Moving right along.
Obviously, you don't need Bob Carnahan, you get someone else.
I don't agree with that at all.
No, that's the dumb
Thank you. This is going forever, but,
Yeah, that's my uncle.
any other council reports? Town attorney,
No report.
clerk treasurer?
The end of the year is winding down really fast. We are still awaiting, our 1782 notice and all our other year-end reporting that comes with this time of year.
Okay. Town manager,
Nothing at this time, Mr. President.
director of operations,
Nothing further, thank you.
police department?
Just a few things, Mr. President. I spoke with a new resident that's in Rose Garden. They're having some issues with the children walking across 141st Avenue and going to school. Eventually, it's gonna get played out properly and sidewalks are gonna be installed, but as of right now, they have to walk across Rose Garden, 141st, to the sidewalk, to the railroad tracks, then back across the road to get to the middle school side. We talked to her, Jill did a really good job explaining of how it's gonna be finished in the end. But she requested some potential lighting or something, flashing lights during school time. She said if her kids didn't walk to school, they would get picked up in Rose Garden, it'd take them an hour to get to school, which is only, a half a block away. So, because of the bus routes. So they walk because of that. And she requested some lighting. I'm not sure what we could put in there. I know that the construction's going on and the potential for this company that's coming in for, I don't know if it's still gonna happen, but the storage place, yeah, so the sidewalk's eventually gonna make it to the railroad. Obviously, we can't touch anything on the railroad itself, because they, hold all the beams for that, but she was requesting some flashing lights or something.
Well, we could do pedestrian crossing zone,
Yeah, I don't know.
but then where do you stop? You don't have,
I think we would need our.
they're walking through the grass right now.
Our engineer to check off on that from a traffic control standpoint.
Sure.
That just
Yeah, it
can't be
opens
something
up.
to throw up.
Yeah.
So,
I'm just throwing it out there, we had a good discussion with her, and Jill put her mind at ease a lot with what the construction that's going on right now and how it's gonna be resolved, it's just taking some time.
let's bring that up with Mr. Oliphant and see what his thoughts are
Okay.
of something temporary.
Okay.
It's
Yeah, I would
worthwhile
say
to look
this
at.
too, Rick, Jill's been working on for a few years, CSX. I mean, we really need gates, at those two crossings, it's absurd. And, however, maybe we can use some of the American Recovery Funds for our 80-20 match, if they make us do an 80-20 match. I would certainly think that would qualify. And then also, I think we should start discussing that ARP money, what our plans are, et cetera.
It's already
Well,
been,
Council Affairs has been discussing,
no, it's been
allocated?
done a year.
Okay,
Yeah, that money's gonna go
The second
towards
half as well?
water and wastewater projects,
correct.
because that was the guidance we got from our financial advisors of what.
I
to
do
now.
remember that, but I thought there was still some left over. I didn't know if that would
No.
fit the match or not. Okay.
No, if you read the paper, you got a lot of communities just doing whatever they
Yeah.
want with it. And
Portage
they're
just
gonna
spent it crazily.
Bonuses.
Yeah, they're gonna probably end up having to pay some back.
I thought the same thing when I
And
read it.
it's crazy what people are using it for, but it's, I don't know. So we've got it pretty narrowly focused and it'll be fine.
Okay, very good. I would think the Ron Road
you saw
would pay for it anyway, so, sorry.
That's all right. You saw my, report, it's in your packet there. We've, topped the 10,000 mark, so we had 11,155 calls for service this year. The majority of that being traffic and, citizen assist.
Congratulations, Chief, that's a wonderful accomplishment.
I wish it was less, but, state sites, 129 for the year, 249 warnings, or for the month, I mean. We've had 32 arrests, 60 charges filed, we had 486 charges filed for the year. 66% of those are misdemeanor charges, 18% are felonies. So, police department's rolling pretty good. We, received 2 of our 4 vehicles now. We brought them in yesterday. Cliff got the laptops and everything installed in them, and one of the vehicles is actually in service starting on Thursday. The other one will be done tomorrow, ready for in-service, but he broke his shoulder, so it's not gonna be driven till he gets out of back from that. I do have 3 guys on injured reserve right now. One broke his shoulder, one chasing a person that was mentally unstable. one got in a fight with the guy at the, Pinecrest, broke his finger, he's about to come back. And then one officer, off duty, blew out his bicep.
Ouch.
So he just had surgery on that, he's gonna be out a while. So, we got a couple on injury reserve right now, we're limping along. The pier is being removed right now. Bartlett Wahlberg is gonna be picked up on Friday morning. I talked to Tom, they're gonna, bring the trailer down there. Brian's gonna put the pier right on the trailer, and we're gonna haul it down here, so that it's sitting with the rest of this pier. So it's all in one location, especially since we have a camera on it fixed 24 hours a day. So they're gonna bring it down here. All of the parts have been stored inside of the, parks building. We moved a bunch of stuff around, got rid of a bunch of stuff that was, junk or just had been sitting there for years. Created a lot of space, so a lot of the parts, the end of the pier things, the lights and stuff like that, all indoors, so we don't have to worry about it over the winter time. And he should have it pretty much wrapped up with the pier, removal by that time. So, we also pulled the, lifts out of the water, and I'm gonna get with Tom to pull them, a little farther south, so that when, Mary Jo does her, fundraiser with the polar plunge, that they have an opening by the lake there. We had that problem last year, and unfortunately, they got frozen into the ground, so it was very difficult. So we're gonna get them moved over now, so we don't have to worry about it. And that's it.
Thank you. Chief Wilkeny? I have a few things. I want to clarify one thing on that ordinance for the fire billing before people look at it and don't understand it. The $1,000 structure fire fee, some people's homeowners only cover $500, some cover $1,000. So we went the high route, and we'll take everything below it. So there's actually $1,000, $750, $500. So we just felt that we just go to $1,000 and bill it, and then if they only have $500 in their policy, then that's what we settle for. So before anybody loses their mind over that. A couple other things. We have some money in the non-reverting fund that I've been talking with Jennifer on about replacing some rescue tools. And we did get approval from our Public Safety Commission to move forward with that. But we kind of ran into a hiccup here this week. Our brush truck, the actual engine on the back of the truck, the brush truck is shot. It's a Nissan motor. We can't get parts for it. And the pump itself is not adaptable. So we're looking at about a $10,000 upgrade to the brush truck. So what I talked to Jen about is maybe using those funds towards that as well. She's gonna double check with, her people to see if it's possible to use those funds towards that. So we're gonna probably have to wait on rescue equipment till next year, early next year, so we have the funds to do so, because we're talking around 50,000, between 40 and 50,000. The fire department's gonna be pushing about 1,700 calls this year, which is drastically up, 200 or 300 calls from last year. I'm waiting on the actual totals for, the comparison. We sent out, you should see a comparison in your packet next month. Dick Hen has offered to store our old fire truck across the street in his barn. I sent you all an email in reference to doing that.
Yep.
I asked him to try to find a place in Public Works, and he's trying to, but it's become difficult, plus it's out in the cold. If we could somehow work it out legally, or whatever agreement we could work with him to put that truck in the barn, over there where it's heated, and then once our new facility's built in the future, we could bring that truck and have it for, you know, our classic truck. We'll still have an old truck that we, don't forget about our history with, and, so I'm asking the council to, authorize him to be able to store it in his building. We will go over there weekly and check and make sure it's running, and operating.
Do you use it?
No, we don't. It's gonna cost a lot of money to rebuild the pump. The pump is pretty much shot in the truck, so it needs to go out of service as soon as
Then why do you have to
possible.
go weekly to look at it?
Just to run it, make sure it runs and start it up.
If we don't use it, do we care?
To start it, yeah.
Oh,
Diesel motor is just sitting there forever, doesn't do it any good. It's a 3208 Cat diesel, it's
Oh, okay.
bulletproof, but
Yeah, that makes sense.
it's a good truck. So he offered to do that. I'm asking the council for permission explore that, whatever we have to do legally, liability-wise. I'm sure Dave's gonna have to jump into some of the meat of that and possibly look at that, if it's even possible.
No cost, chief?
He said he would not charge us other than he would want a tax write-off on it. So somehow we'd have to, you know, work it out to where he could write it off on his taxes. The last thing I have is, back to the ordinance. Once the ordinance is in place, I'm asking the council and the commission to move forward with that next person hire, because that was the actual stipulation it's in the budget for. It's gonna take between 6 to 8 weeks to get people through perf anyways, so if we could start that process soon. We have a hiring list. The Public Safety Board is asked to interview everybody, even though they approved our hiring list. And if we could start that, that would be great. So I'm asking for permission, once the ordinance goes into place and it's active in January, that we can move forward with that next hire.
Anything else?
No, I think I got covered, all.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see any impediments to that hiring. That's part of the plan, so.
Right, okay.
When it's ready, we'll be on an agenda.
What I'll do is, we're gonna have a meeting next week with the Public Safety Commission, and we'll start the interview process to the group. Go from there.
Sounds good, Chief. We have our building department report.
And Mr. President, we've officially broken last year's record with this report.
Uh-oh.
We had 289 last year, we have 311 this year. We tied the record in at the end of September, we've broken it at the end of October.
Yeah, and there's still a little time left. It's amazing.
Yep.
Thank you. Other written communications, Christopher Burke report, just their updates on all the different projects and duties they're a part of. We'll go to public comment.
Good evening. I'm Mary Jones Dixon, 8711 West 131st Place. I'm here on behalf of Summerfest. We visited the contract, but you had a short month, because you know Tuesday was November 1st, and here we are, it's only the third week, and you're not going to have another meeting for 3 weeks. Our problem is fireworks. They would like us to sign our contract now for fireworks, for 2 nights of fireworks like we've always done, and put 50% down to guarantee we have them because of the shipping. Every department head here talked about shipping being a problem. In order for us to guarantee what's in that warehouse that's ours, so we can shoot them off, we'll guarantee we have fireworks, we need some kind of commitment from you if we could possibly, and I know this is not something you normally do, but Rick does have the contract, it's the exact same one from last year. The fireworks would be on July 1st and 3rd. If I could just get permission to get those fireworks, that's all I'm looking for.
What do we, would just kind of a simple motion and second of a commitment to the Summerfest for next year and a consideration of the contract for the next meeting? I mean, I'm not sure what.
Why would you have to prove to them? If you have our word, that should be.
Well, a public
that's
meeting,
fine.
actually,
If you give me your word, I'm fine
Yeah, I
with your
mean,
word.
but a letter from the
Normally,
president.
we have a we have that
Yeah.
resolution, we don't. So if you say tonight, that's fine, I'm okay with it. We've been doing this for 40 years, it's not like it's
Yeah.
new.
Yeah,
It hasn't changed one bit except for the date.
Chief Wilkening loves fireworks. Are you gonna have him shoot them off?
I love their fireworks.
We love, we do it better than people do it at home. We've come to that understanding. We agree
I'll
that it's
sign the
better
permit
for us.
tomorrow.
So I would ask the council to entertain a motion to amend the agenda, please.
Let's make a motion to amend the agenda and vote in favor of allowing the fireworks on the first of the
So we have a motion on 2 items for Mr. Foreman. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Rivera. Questions or discussion? One comment is, for the record, this is not an approval of the contract. This is a support for the fireworks. The contract can be
Correct.
reviewed and then considered on the next council agenda. Okay? Thank you. Roll call vote?
John Foreman,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan.
Yes.
Randy Meyer.
Yes, motion carries 5-0.
And as the president of the Booster Club, I do not want you to slight the women. The girls won sectional, soccer, and volleyball. So they should be here just as well as the basketball and the football's always been here.
I can't disagree with you.
That's it.
So maybe rather than bring them here with our room being so small, we do a proclamation, ask the coaches and a couple captains.
Well, the achievements right now in Hanover are
amazing.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
These kids are awesome.
If I could also add, while we're talking Hanover kids, Hanover also sent not one, but 2 runners to the cross-country street meet. Junior
Correct.
Ryan
York.
York and senior Bryce Noble
Is that right?
represented
And that
Hanover.
kid, yeah, they're great. I've been following those runners.
They're amazing.
Man, when I was there, we were lovable losers.
Believe me, the Booster Club's feeling it, because we buy the kids a replicate of the state, trophy. So we're buying lots of them this
So
fall.
the volleyball team won sectionals?
And girls soccer.
So tell me about where did the volleyball team play? Was it regionals or semi-state or what?
No, they won sectionals, and
Right.
they went to regionals and lost in the second.
Who'd they play?
I'm a soccer mom.
Okay.
I'm not even a mom anymore there. I'm just a cheerleader.
Then the
Nobody
soccer-
else wants to be president. Then soccer won, yes, and they lost. I think they lost 3-1, 3-0 at regional.
Now, they had a pretty good record this year too, right?
Yes,
What
they
was
did.
their record?
I'm not the AD.
Mary Jo,
I'm just the lady who makes the money. Ask anyone. I raise the money. That's what I'm
Okay.
about. I'm about just making sure there's money for whatever they need. That's my job.
Good.
And the other thing I would just like to mention, when you mentioned about the clubhouse, you may want to make sure the health department, you have a separate sink for washing hands, because an organization I'm affiliated with got busted for that. So you just can't, you have to have a sink just for washing hands. So you might want to make sure that's in your plan.
And there's something while you're up here that you've brought up before, and we have never kind of come up with a plan to resolve it, and that's ADA picnic tables.
No, I'm working on that.
You
We're
are?
working- I'm just-
Okay, I haven't heard an update, so
Yeah, that's in process.
We're
Good.
working on it. It's money. I gotta work on money.
Yeah, right.
That's my job. Again, I'm just working on the money.
Okay, thank you, Mary
But I
Jo.
will make sure they're ADA.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Don't fight over it, guys. There's enough to go around.
Well, it'll take 2 hours.
Oh, yeah?
Okay. Oh, boy. Leave it now.
Kevin Toth, 9725B West, 129th Place. I just wanted to make a comment about, we've been talking about the fire and emergency service fees thing, but it was not posted on in your packet online tonight for the meeting, so I'm not
It was,
sure if
it was
it has to
just
be.
done before the meeting.
Oh, yeah, I'm just saying, because you were discussing it, I'm thinking about, well, if you're gonna take comments on it and stuff, how can anybody comment on it if you can't read it?
That's the reason we did only one reading tonight,
Okay.
was to
So
give
you
it time
don't
for
have to
people to
post it for
review.
the first reading? Okay, I just wanted to know.
Yep,
Thank you.
no problem, Kevin.
Good evening, everybody. Josh Gore, 12550 Tall Oaks Drive. Tim and I are here tonight to hopefully get some cold weather and some ice for Moto on Ice. We're kind of looking to do the same thing last year as hopefully Mother Nature cooperates and we can get some ice racing in this year. There's still a few things pending. We put in for our permit for the state through AMA, where we should be hearing back on that soon. DNR as well, so everything should fall back into order, the same as it was last year. Other than that, I know that I was in here, and we were in here, Jeff asked for you guys, pretty much the same, you'll work with chiefs, and everything will be off, same way it was last year, same way it was set up and structured, so.
Well, you don't have to depend on Mother Nature for ice, you have to depend on John Kerry. He's climate czar. You heard of him?
No.
He can single-handedly change this climate, so.
But no, if we can get ice, we do plan on, the parade of lights this Saturday too, so we're gonna go out and try to make some, let everybody know, because, not being able to race for a couple of years, everybody fell off a little bit, but now everybody's been asking to, and, we're still here. A lot of kids interested in it, a lot of youth people, a lot of people from out of state, so. we're
You
looking
guys
to-
have done an awesome job the years you've been able to do it, and been great community partners, so
Thanks,
we look forward to working with you.
thanks.
Do we need to have some on the agenda for the next meeting to?
If there's something you need from us, get something to Rick,
Same as
and
last
we'll get
year.
it on the agenda.
We had a contract from last year,
Yeah.
we should get
Yeah,
just the renewal.
Basically, just get
Change
updated.
of dates, I think, and
Yeah.
everything else stays the same,
Yeah.
Let's get it updated then at the next meeting, and
Yeah, let's make it happen.
When would we be able to push that through? That's December 7th, the next meeting is December 7th.
Okay, that's plenty of time then, because we're shooting for 1st of January if
Yeah,
ice is good.
that'll work great.
Because we have, you put everything out publicly, you know, X amount of weeks, and it takes a while to,
So let's get it on the agenda for next meeting and get this updated, and
sounds
you
good.
guys moving forward.
Appreciate it, thanks for everybody's support.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you.
And the aerators are not supposed to be in this year.
Right.
Was that for sure?
They got
Oh, yeah,
denied.
They got denied.
Did they get denied? Because I know it was, Monday, they were supposed to make a hearing, or Terry said that there was a hearing.
pulled their lifts and piers all apart.
Yeah, no, they got denied.
Did they get denied?
Yeah.
Okay, well then, ultimately, we should be able, as long as we have ice, that won't put us out. Last year, that's actually what put us back, and we were unable to have safe ice. So now, that being said, we look to put Cedar Lake, draw some attention here.
Do we have the piers, so we're not gonna,
The pier is only gonna be in one small spot
Oh,
that's
okay.
in camera view, so, yeah, it'll be away from where they're at. They're coming in on more the north side by the stage, so.
Yeah.
The pier's gonna stay in one location, so it's on camera view 24/7.
It won't be in that way.
Nope, not at all.
Awesome.
And there's still walkway, so the way Brian's putting it up, they'll still be able to walk past the pier.
Good.
On the sidewalk.
Thank you, Josh.
I've
thanks,
got a
Josh.
question.
Yes.
On that, you know that we've changed the fee structure, and you guys can probably qualify for the not-for-profit?
I'm sure we can work all that out detail wise. I mean, that's, yeah.
Okay.
We'll take care of whatever needs done for that, so, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that's good.
Okay.
Okay, that's, that was, I was just letting you know that they've got, different fees now.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Grounds rental fees.
Okay, moving on, like Ralph did the meeting.
That's a different member of the club that does that stuff. I don't know about that, so.
I like it.
I'll pass it on.
That was good. That was good.
So.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you. Thanks, Josh.
I got one other thing just for information, the posts and the fence panels are in for town grounds, and, next week, we're gonna start removing the chain link at the yacht club and start working our way around.
We're installing the John Foreman Memorial fence.
The
love it.
memorial fence will be started, so.
No more leaves blowing up against the.
The materials are, the
It's gonna look
poles are
professional.
in, and, they're gonna start on it,
Wow.
just so you know.
Thank you, Tim. Any other public comment?
Just in
Kevin's
time.
got one more.
One more, sorry.
It's okay.
I'm gonna make this one, it's Kevin, Hanover Township trustee. Two quick things. We got some good news the other day. I already spoke with Todd that our tanker, which was supposed to come in April, is gonna be here in February, thanks to Joe Biden and the supply shortage. So they bumped our truck up because they can't work on the other ones because they don't have parts for them. So ours is gonna get done ahead of the other
Well,
ones.
thank you to our
So,
president for that.
I mean, he finally did something good. So anyway, and number two, we had a little issue last week, and I did speak with both of our chiefs about it, and I kinda wanted to actually ask Dave about it too, and maybe run it by you guys. We've got an issue sometimes, we've got a few individuals, and Todd knows, they know what I'm talking about, where, they're frequent people that the fire department has to go help, the police department has to go to help, they're handicapped, some of them, and sometimes they get locked in their place, and they're on the floor or something, can't get up, and somebody has to either break a door or something to get into their place. So, we've kinda had some discussions I've had with the, apartment complex where one of them was at and stuff, they were kinda upset about their door being destroyed, and, so we just from my past experience too and all that, with all this stuff, I thought, well, you know what, maybe we can do something, if we can maybe do some key boxes or something for the people who are handicapped or the elderly folks who fall, it's a problem, I know Todd can probably tell you how many times they go to certain people's houses, just for a lift assist. So, my suggestion was, and I spoke with a couple of the people already about it at the Oaks 10 apartments and stuff where we have some of those issues, is that if we could put a key box outside on the wall by the door, so the fire department, police department can go there and put a code in it, pull the key out, and go on in and help the person instead of breaking something. I wasn't sure about the legal
I
part
don't
of
see
it.
any issues, and you're the township trustee responsible for poor relief and, related type of responsibilities, and I see it fitting right in that, without any question.
I was worried about if there was any legal problems as far as.
You got a
Somebody
call,
broke in.
so we're saying.
With the
is
key being in there, and I know I talked to the chief about that, they would be able to actually put the key codes would be in the dispatch, so that.
Actually, in that person's name file, we could put their key code number in there, so that each house could have their own key fob, or a combination, so they're not all the same, so we wouldn't have to worry about that. And when someone does put one up, you just notify us, we put that in their name file, and it stays in there, so when the fire department responds for an EMS call, they can go into that name file right on the same system that we use. There's the key number, they can get into the house.
We have some home Knox boxes now,
It's very smart.
where people have bought home Knox boxes for the houses, on which we carry a key to all Knox boxes. It's the same thing as the businesses, we have a key to all the businesses in town.
I know they're not,
The Knox box.
the Knoxes are real expensive.
They're about
Yeah.
$300, but the home one is like $125, which is still a lot of money for.
But I know we could do like just, I don't know if you ever seen them, like a master lockbox or whatever, they have them just got.
So would you be
For
buying
real
10 of
estate.
them or something?
I would offer.
As
Yes.
something bad happens, you alternate them?
No, what we would do is if there's somebody who's handicapped or elderly that's in need,
But you would own it,
I
not
would have no problem buying.
the resident?
Buying them through the office, we can buy so many of
Good
them.
idea.
We have a lot of people that donate money just for, for food and for clothing, for whatever people need, we have a lot of that available. So, I mean, I got no problem buying,
Yeah.
15 or 15 boxes or something, I mean, not the $300 ones,
Right, sure.
but if we can, I don't know if a master one would work.
No, the biggest thing would making sure they're secured in whatever spot they're being put in, so that someone can't go up and rip it off.
Well, it'd be like a real.
Make ones that screw to the wall. I mean.
Yeah,
Well, it's just a real.
They screw to the wall, and even if you ripped it off the wall, you can't get the key out of it
Just so
without.
they can't get in there and wedge it out or something.
Yeah.
I'm fully on board with
They
it.
lock them
I'm
on the
almost thinking
doorknob,
just like the realtors use.
Yeah.
They lock them on the doorknob.
Well, that's the type of box I'm talking
Yeah.
about, but these would be,
Put it around the doorknob.
I'd rather screw them to the wall.
The hardest worst people.
That way,
Good idea.
just a little
So
easier.
we'll be able to get in there. Even the fire department, they're doing so many lift assists now that they would.
Yeah, we broke their door, we broke the door. We didn't have a choice, because the guy was laying on the ground in the back.
Well, it's a heck of a lot, better for the citizens to do what you're talking about than having to repair a door every time.
I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't a problem for the town, that if we, if we went ahead and did this, if we needed to have some kind of special language.
No, if our police or fire are called to a lift assist, let's say, they're invitees, and as invitees, they're not trespassing, they're not improperly in place, they're there by request, so we're good, and we've got complete immunity. If they go bust something up, we still are immune.
Okay, so you don't think we need any kind of special language or anything if we
Don't
were
think
to
so.
start some kind of program like this, just to?
But if there's a policy to be established, council, and you and your board want to do it, you can certainly have that drafted, but just on a common law basis, I don't see a liability issue.
Okay, good, yeah, I just thought it'd probably be a good idea that we could offer to all the residents.
I suspect, though, Kevin, that both Bill and Todd would put some kind of an SOP together.
Yep.
So folks responding to those kinds of calls would have protocols.
Yeah, no, I'll start working on it, I just been really busy with the holidays right now with Angel Tree and everything else, so as soon as we get all that past us, we'll get working on a lockbox.
Yeah, like I said,
We'll help you identify them, and we'll even install.
Like I said, we
install them.
I can install them too, that's not a problem. I mean, we'll have to set something up where it's gonna be, if they can afford to buy it, we're gonna, I can't really go ahead and buy it for everybody.
Sure,
But
right.
if somebody is in need and they do not have the funds available, we'll buy it for them, it's not a problem.
We do the same thing with smoke detectors, and then we go put them in people's houses if they don't have them yet.
Okay, just thought I'd bring it up.
Good idea.
Is there any other public comment? Public comment?
Mr. President, I have one item that I remembered. We're asking the council's permission to go for 7 properties through the Lake County Commissioners tax sale. There are 7 pieces of property that are adjacent to properties we already own, that we have a chance to acquire. We just need to get a letter we need to do this, I think Jill told me by tomorrow, get a letter to the county commissioners letting them know we're interested in these 7 properties. So we just wanted your permission or your blessing to.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Motion to amend the agenda and consider.
Motion to amend the agenda and also consider approval for acquiring the parcels adjacent to town-owned grounds.
Thank you. Motion by Mrs. Former, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Sheehan. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
John Foreman.
Yes.
Julie Rivera.
Yes.
Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Colleen Stevens.
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer.
Yes, motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Public comment is closed. Our next, town council public meeting will be Tuesday, December 7th. So this meeting is officially adjourned.